Welcome to Twin Destinies Episode 2. We've now got our hands on the game and we've played a whole chunk of it. I'm CJ, this is Paddy.
Hello!
And here's the title music.
Boosh!
So my copy arrived on Tuesday. I got it under rather suspicious circumstances because I was waiting for the postman, a post van, however it was going to come.
Yeah, please tell, because I saw bits of this story on Twitter and it baffled me, so I need to hear this properly.
It was bizarre because I was worried because I ordered from a supermarket and I checked and on my order status and it said prepared for dispatch, but still was like that on the morning. And I was like, oh, it's not going to arrive, is it? And someone else who'd ordered it from that supermarket was saying, oh, they've tweeted to say that that because there were so many, they couldn't change the order status, and so they've all been sent out. So it's cool. So I was sort of every time I saw sort of anything that looked vaguely fluorescent, like the top of the postman, or heard kind of a rattling van, because there was a free headset coming with it. So it'd have been sort of.
Was there much that was vaguely fluorescent? Was that like a passing lamppost?
Well, you get people sort of doing like various water work and
I
don't know, anything that looked vaguely glowy.
Ginger people.
So my living room, because I live in a flat, if I open my living room goes onto the bedroom. So if I open the bedroom door, I can see out of the front onto the street. So I was twitching like some sort of eager terrier at anything visual or rumbly diesel noise, because I didn't know which it was going to come with. And I saw the postman go past with a package and I was like, that's it. And the buzzer to the flat kills me every time it goes, because it's one of those like an old alarm clock, and it was like when it sort of kicks in, and nothing happened. And I was like, what? So I belted towards the door and opened the door, and the postman just went, oh, you're in, are you? Yeah, this is yours. And he was walking off with it.
Damn, dog.
I'm like, not a card, like no card had been put through the door or anything. I just thought,
do you think he was working it out?
Have you twigged on to what this is? So that was a little bit of a like,
bit weird.
Yeah.
Like conspiracy against you. Well, my acquisition was just as weird, because Sunday night I also ordered from a supermarket, the same one. And I also got the headset come through, and I realised very late Sunday night, of course, that the headset would make this then too large to go through my letterbox, because both I and my lovely wife were at work. And I realised this very late Sunday night, by which point it was far too late to do anything about. So I was a bit pissed off. I thought, well, maybe one of my neighbours will have it, and we got home, and it's like, oh, it's not here. And I picked up my little red piece of paper that said, there's no one here, and I showed Twitter. I said, oh, my copy of Destiny's here, and gave it the finger. Because I was a bit annoyed, a bit annoyed. Everyone else is like, oh, we're playing it, it's great. And I'm like, oh, I can't play it yet. So I had to bump out early in the morning to go down to the post office to pick it up. So that was a good hour and a half out of my day. Didn't actually get to play it that night until about 8 o'clock, even though we were on a day off because Laura's parents came to visit and other things happened. And it's like, I just want to play my video game. And interestingly enough, that happened on Wednesday. It is now Friday, and Laura got the dispatch email today. So just to let us know that it's been dispatched. Good. Thanks, unnamed supermarket. Good job.
So yeah, I whilst you were in this waiting doldrums, I played
the waiting room of life.
Yes, I played the beta on 360, and was looking forward to this sort of being hit by the pretty train on PS4, and just sort of. So I was curious to see how it would look, and if anything, rather than being taken aback by the PS4 one initially, I was more impressed with how much they managed to cram into the 360 version. So I was looking and just going like, God, you did a really good job on this. And there's lots of sort of wonderful little effects with the lighting and the water and all that sort of stuff. But I think it was nice that I looked back and sort of appreciated just how much effort they put into the the 360 and presumably the PS3 versions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I set up as a warlock, as I did in the beta. Shut up.
He's a wizard.
Shh. So I set up as a warlock, as I did in the beta version, and started cracking into some of the missions that admittedly I'd done before in the beta, but in all this time I've been looking forward to getting back to those and sort of replaying them again, because I enjoyed them so much the first time, and didn't get even vaguely as far as everybody else in the beta. I just took my time at that point, and
to be fair, that's how you play things, isn't it? You take your time on these sort of things, don't you?
I do. I'm the sort of person that I like to drink in the experience, and I don't know, it's always been that way, that rather than this is your objective, go to here, I kind of like to explore the world and see what's there, and just take my time with it. And especially if I'm paying 40 quid for a game, why would I want to rinse this immediately? It's one of the things that's been a wee bit of a gripe, seeing all of the big video game sites absolutely racing to finish the game, and
all streaming it at the same time.
Yeah, and I saw a bit of one of the streams, and I did, yeah, again, it was stuff that I played before. I wasn't gonna watch that, which was still a surprise to me. But I don't know if it was because it was an actual stream and they were just trying to entertain or not. But they seemed to be quite mouthy against it, and just seemed to be, I don't know, not particularly losing themselves in it. And I think there's, maybe it's because I live on my own, but I like the solitude of losing myself in a game, as if I'm there, as if I'm taking part in this sort of really special, amazing movie. That I still remember the night when I first went to see Star Wars as a kid, and I can still remember the top deck of the bus and the window at the front seeming as big as a movie screen. And it was really dark, and I saw the street lights, and it was and there was this real sort of flicker tingle of excitement as I was going in there. And I can remember going into the cinema and getting a program, and then nothing after, like the curtains drew back. And I remember saying to one of my parents, like, what happened after that? Because I don't remember. And they said, you just sat there with your mouth open for the next 2 hours. And I love it. I love it when a game can do that for me. It's but especially with, when you're playing late at night and the lights are off and you're just losing yourself on that window on the other side of the living room. That's what I play games for. And I still have a real love for science fiction anyway, but I've lost myself in this game. But there's been a few surprises along the way in that regard. So
I mean, I get what you about the whole Star Wars thing. I mean, to allude to a feeling I've had while I've been playing it, it's got that. I don't know how you quantify it. I don't know what you call it. It's got that sparkle that Star Wars has got. It's it's space, which I just, without wanting to generalize, most young boys like space. It's kind of got a bit of magic in it. It's got a bit of adventure. It's got that kind of robots and kind of zombie things, and it's like it's checking off all the things that my 10-year-old mind likes. And to be fair, my 28-year-old mind also likes. And it's got that kind of that sparkle, that wonder that Star Wars has got. When you watch it, and like you say, you're just sitting there with your gob on the floor.
Well, there's an old quote that we often go back to from uh, Dark Souls is Hidetaka Miyazaki, which was something along the lines of a perfect world can tell its story in silence. And when I first touched down on Earth and I saw, the landscape and
the big line of cars,
and yeah, well, no, even beyond that, more than anything, when we got outside and you saw sort of all the shuttles that were lined up on those massive ships, and you saw this wonderful painted world of huge, beautiful skylines and rust and sparkle and grass and patches of ground and snow. I adored that, and I stood there and it just as much as this is escapism, it felt real to me. It felt like I was there, and I was loving it. But there's also an aspect which came to the fore a little further on, but to allude to it here, that, and I suppose you might be able to apply this to Star Wars as well, but for all of the sci-fi trappings, this is a Western.
Yeah.
This is a frontier, a man against the frontier, with kind of the Indians in the woods, if you want to, and
with just a gun at his side and a compadre taking on the world.
Well, and as we'll allude to this a little bit later on, but there are two very different experiences that I think are in here. One is the lone gunman going into the frontier on his own, which I've found to be a really tense and brilliant experience, because you've got no one to back you up. And then there's essentially that feeling, which almost like a Magnificent Seven feeling.
A posse.
Although
Magnificent Three.
A Magnificent Three, as it might be, or a two, as we've had together, where the game just becomes this mixture of talking and tactics and instinct, like you taking sort of the left hand side and me taking the right hand side, and then you crossing towards the right as I cross towards the left as we move around the landscape and stuff. And that's really exciting. I love that. That's essentially, if we're going for a Star Wars moment, that's you running through the Death Star. That's I dig the heck out of that. So.
When the pace kicks up as well, like you really, really fancy, like like moment to moment, right? Shoot that guy, duck behind there, move around there, reload, pick that up, tricks of that weapon, shoot that guy again. Like you can see what you want to do without thinking about it.
But there are also those moments where something jumps out at you, and you're either trying to charge a gun or you're trying to use a special move, and there's this degree of kind of. And there's been points where I've pushed myself back on the sofa because I've maybe sort of one of those stealth knights has come towards me and jumped at me, and I've jumped back onto the couch. Or being a warlock, I've got like a bit of a force push as well. And that point where you might jump at me and I go like poof, and it might knock a third of his health down, and they're like poof, and I'm like. Have I still got that final hit? And my energy's going beep, 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 beep. And like smack, like final one, and this is a degree of right move. And that's outstanding.
With the hunter as well, like the hunter's comparable power to your push is his knife. So when you're up close, you can jab people in the face with the knife, which is nothing. It feels great. Like the melee attack is amazing. Like it's so satisfying. Just jab the knife and watch things fly back. But when you've upgraded it, it becomes a thrown knife. And when you see a guy charging at you, you're like, shit, need to reload. Oh, I've got a knife. Huck the knife. To see it jab in its head and watch it fly back and explode. Magnificent.
In that regard, we've both had fun with grenades as well, haven't we?
Oh, God. The grenades are just so satisfying.
So, but yours sort of hover in the air and stay for it until
what
people
mine
come
do?
in.
Mine once you level up your grenade part, I think it's level 6 you get your cool grenade, isn't it? Mine, I throw it. It initially explodes. into kind of tiny explosives that hover there, and if anything gets too close, they then home in on that thing. So if I miss, I've basically made like a mine, and if anything's stupid enough to walk into it, they get wrecked. They get wrecked. Whereas yours is a bit more disco.
Well, initially mine was kind of this sort of void where it would go like and kind of drain the energy of the of anything that was nearby. And an upgrade that I can now swap between the two if I want to is kind of all these purple sparkles that just bounce off afterwards and just ignite in the air, and it's amazing. There's been times where I've used that and it's just cleared us out of some of the enemies that are rushing towards us.
Yeah.
And
it's
also
like an explosive glitter bomb.
There was one point a few nights ago where I chucked that in, like shattered a load of sort of enemies that were on the front lines. You'd already laid your grenade there, and as they came rushing out, your orange spikes kind of lurched towards them. It was like, that was successful grenading.
Excellent work with complete planning.
So weapon-wise,
yeah.
So I'm at level 10 at the moment, and you are...
I'm hovering about halfway through 9.
Yeah, so what have you got weapon-wise? And
so, weapon-wise...
Explain your choices, sir.
Absolutely. From the off, I have been dealing with hand cannons as soon as possible, because they were what I played with in the alpha. I find the machine guns okay. I like them. You know, they do good damage, and they can go and mow a lot of guys down. But I find... with the way I want to play it, again, we're going back to the idea that this is a goddamn Western again. I like having a gun that I shoot and the thing dies. Boom, done. Boom, done. Boom, done. Over and over and over again. I love that, and I love that the headshots actually really matter as well. There's a particular kind of enemy, the robot ones, that have the glowing green faces. And if you shoot their glowing green face, the entire robot explodes.
I thought they were something to do with the hive.
The night ones, aren't they? I think they're something to do with the knights. They look like glowing green robot men. They move kind of slowly, and they're kind of red, and they've got green faces. But yeah, a single headshot explodes the entire robot. Only on the larger guys does that take a few to do, but even then it's only 2 or 3, and then kaboom, which is no mean feat because they eat bullets. But yeah, I've rolled with the handguns, the Dukes, for quite a while, and I must have found not a unique one, but a rare one, because it had a magazine of 9, whereas most of them have a magazine of 3. And in a big fight, it makes all the difference, you know, being able to fire off those couple of extra shots, even though it was powerful. But fire off the extra couple before you have to spend, 2 seconds reloading. I have since moved back to a 3-shot one because I'm getting better at the aiming now. So I find that I can shoot and move and not have to worry about, oh crap, I missed with all 3 bullets. And it's good practice as well for the Hunter's special power, which is the Golden Gun. Which is basically a better Magnum. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. And it's essentially a 3-bullet, one-hit kill gun against everything but the toughest of bastards. It can take down a captain in a burst of 3. It can take out a wizard in a burst of 3. It can take out most things, except the bosses, really. My sub-weapons, I've been rolling sniper rifles, mostly. Tried mixing out with the fusion rifle. It's okay. I don't really get on with it that well, though. I want to shoot things right the fuck now. So again, single shot sniper rifles. Again, headshots, kaboom. It's great. And I've been rolling with a rocket launcher. I believe it was called the Baron. And I believe when we were playing co-op, I was shouting, "Right, you're getting the Baron." You're like, "What's going on?" And kaboom! Like, oh, that's the Baron. Yep, that's the Baron. So yeah, I like one hit that does a lot of damage. That's my goy. What do you play as and with? I know you're a warlock, but what do you roll? What guns do you hold in your warlock hands?
Well, as I've gone on, I've gleaned more powerful weapons, but I've kind of eschewed those in favour of ones that I've had beforehand that aren't as powerful. But I don't know, the more powerful weapons that I've got, there seems to be a huge kickback on them. And
You said that you got a really crazy machine gun, didn't you? But you couldn't basically aim the thing.
yeah, well, I could aim it, but it was then going brr, 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 like, oh,
First shot was great.
yeah, and it was even sort of kicking out quite a few bullets in between, but it just didn't feel right. And it felt that if I was doing subsequent bursts afterwards, that I was missing with those second bursts, and I was having to recenter myself before I could do a single shot again. So I paired those back, and I went back to I've got an Umbra pulse rifle, which is incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
That even when I zoom in on the sights and I'm moving around and I'm sort of doing bursts of like bang 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 bang, I know when to fire and I know when to stop, and I can still hold enemies in my sights, and I'm getting really accurate stats from that at the end, and I'm kind of quite mindful of those stats when I'm shooting as well, because I like being that accurate, and there's a part of me that just enjoys the fact that the enemy might be scared because everything is hitting it. And then the secondary weapon, I've got a Tengoku FR2A, or the fuck off into space weapon.
That's the fusion rifle, isn't it?
It is. It's got sort of a charge shot that takes a couple of seconds to build up, but it leaves enemies kind of going like a whoa as they sort of johnny off into ghosts and to space and to dead.
Yeah.
And it's great, and it's particularly good when I've used it on boss battles. Which is great, running in, sort of just taking things out from distance and smacking off. In the case of the wizards and stuff, taking off quite decent amounts of health. But
do you also find that it sounds a bit like a silly noise you'd make with your mouth, kind of?
It doesn't do that though.
Mine did. Mine went. Whenever it shot a few bullets, it sounded really. It was funny. It was like it was blowing a raspberry.
This is great, and this is one of the reasons why I stuck with it, because I got one with flame instead of kind of this fusion stuff, and it didn't actually make as good a noise. Besides the fact it didn't sort of have them sort of flailing off like dummies into space.
Yeah.
But this has got like a like that. It's like a massive kind of punch at the end of it, and it's incredibly satisfying to use. Plus, one of the bounties that I've got is to take out 2 enemies at the same time with a fusion rifle, but I've got to do that 20 times, and it's harder than it sounds.
I had a go at that myself last night after we split up from playing together. I found one. I thought, I'll give it a quick go, and I couldn't even get one. Like, I was finding it really tough going.
So yeah, I managed to get a heavy weapon later, and that was a machine gun. But really, I could probably swap that out for a rocket launcher. Thinking about some of the things that we faced a little later on.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to pull out that trump card and go get fucked.
So the first evening that we sort of gamed together.
We've both gone up to about level what? I was about level 4. You were about level 6 at this point.
Yeah, I think
before we'd started, we'd done a couple of missions on our own, and I'd actually battered around a bit as well with. D-Sonic X, the guy you may have heard of from our Dark Souls podcast, who was the first person I think I ever invaded and ran away from me like Sonic the Hedgehog. And it turns out he couldn't find me either, but it was one of those wonderful moments where we each thought the different thing was happening. And he saw I was online and hopped into my world at level 11 already, and I was only at level 2. And sort of battered through a couple of the early quests with me. And I hadn't got my headset set up, so he showed me where a couple of cool things were, like some of the golden chests and that. Very helpful. So
because you see, at this point, I'd played the game more and was at that level 6, but you'd done more of the quests, because I was seemingly quite happy on that first day, just buggering around areas and shooting stuff with other people and having a really good time with it. And this again flicks back to journalists at the big sites who are just headlong trying to finish it to get their review up, where it's like, well, I can do this. I can just breathe it in and enjoy this experience and not feel like I've got to go mission.
But if you don't go fast, how will you do the next mission?
But I think the advantage of that, of enjoying it, was that the grind, as some people have mentioned,
Hmm.
I'd already done a bit of that willingly and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've done that myself in the downtime between the show, between like playing together,
Mm.
battered around with the patrol missions for a while.
Well, I think that with regards to that, and like I say, the time that I'd had when I just johnnied around that first world, and there'd been other people there, and I just ran about and shot things, and
Hmm.
done a few public events with sort of these people and stuff. Um, Thinking about the future and when it does come to leveling up, I'm sure if you and I had just got like an hour together, we
Hmm.
could just jump into one of those, twat about for a bit, even if it's we might be catching up on the day, or we might be full on into it. But I just get the feeling that we could probably pass a few slices of time with
Exactly.
that
Yeah,
like effortless.
it's a gaming water cooler.
Yeah, I think I know there are a few folks that are upset that it's not a completely open world and that you can't bat around sort of area to area to area instantaneously.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I
But then again, the areas are on different planets, so I don't know what they expected.
no, I mean, like I'm sure for some people that the whole of Earth they'd like to, and the new Russia, they'd like that all to be interlinked. So you could go from the divide to the cosmos. You know what I mean? You could
Hmm.
run round all of them if you wanted to. And maybe Bungie have got that planned later on. Maybe they'll just unlock them all and
Maybe I mean
just,
there are tunnels between them, aren't there? Definitely.
yeah.
But I've found I've tried to break it a little bit with my speeder bike, and I get rebuffed when I try.
Mm.
I've flipped it so many times I can't even begin to explain how many times I've flipped that thing trying to jump over stuff.
So
Uh,
yeah, we did the initial stuff where you'd got the speeder bike by this point and I hadn't.
which was astonishing because you were two levels higher than me and didn't have the bike, and I was sitting there going, "How the hell do you not have the bike?"
Because I'd just honestly been
Blew my
dicking around
mind.
with the regular shooty stuff and enjoying it, and just didn't
Mm.
want to move on. That's another aspect I'd say of savoring the experience. That if I'm enjoying something and I'm quite happy within that little pocket, I'll stay there until I'm not, and then I'll move on. So we did the one where I got the speeder bike and stuff.
The Warmind, wasn't it?
Was it the Warmind?
That's the Warmind.
Let me have
The
a look.
level 4 quest is called the Warmind, and I think that's the one where you have to kind of get in and you learn about Rasputin. I think something like that, isn't it?
The
It's
Warmind, the
yeah,
Warmind's quite a way in. Was that
the
that?
level 4 quest you do is called the
Sure,
Warmind.
it wasn't the last array. Oh
Nope.
no, the Warmind is level 4, isn't it?
Yep,
Last array is level 5.
that's the one.
So was
The
the
last
last?
array is the one we did where we had to hold off while the ghost undid the laser wall.
Oh, the fleets of ships.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I did that level earlier on in the day before on my own
Hmm.
before we did it together, and I found it really tense and really exciting. And there was a certain point because we that was the moment where was it like the I'm sure they weren't warlords, but they were like bigger enemies than I'd seen before with
Oh, the
swords.
big robot-y guys.
Yeah, who came in
Yeah.
and they just twatted at me. And there were points where inside that little warehouse where I was running round like trying to escape from enemies and trying to watching my health go like before I could turn round and
And
then
then
try.
poof, keep
But
running.
yeah, not knowing sort of where they'd be, and there were certain points in that where I get hit and I'd be like, and I'd not had time to reload, and I was trying to twat them with the sort of force power that I got,
Yeah.
and then running away again, and it was almost like something from Scooby Doo, or a scene from Benny Hill where it'd be like, except I wasn't laughing, I was going. Massive palpitations, and when those big warships came in, that again was kind of a moment where I was like, how am I going to do this?
That's
And
quite large.
And it was, I really enjoyed it and stuff, but it was, and not taking away from that solo experience at all, but
Mm.
when we did that level on co-op,
Co-op. Mm.
it was a completely different experience. Not better, not worse, but completely different.
Yeah.
Because we were applying tactics to it. I think I was taking the left-hand side as the creatures were coming in. You were
Yep.
taking the right.
I stood on the left of the door and shot to the right. You stood on the right of the door and shot to the left. So anything coming in, we get caught in the crossfire at some point. It was very efficient.
And there were certain points where you'd move towards the left and I'd move
Mm.
towards the right. And often in that mission, I think that was the first one where you kind of went, "Where have you gone?"
Yeah.
If I've seen you heading off in one direction, I'll try and go in the opposite direction, or see if I can get to higher ground,
Yeah.
or somewhere that's advantageous, rather than as just running side by side as if we're bloody holding hands or something.
Oh, but that's half the fun.
Yeah, well,
Skipping through the world.
but those tactics worked, and
And even when shit went wrong and something got in and, it got all up in our shit, I think we were able to deal with it and, fire blindly for a while, but then fight them back out to the door again and just clear that door out and keep our door clear. It was our door, man. I loved our door.
at certain points, though, it was nice when it became quite instinctive. Like I remember at one point, during a big battle, I'm not even sure if it was on this level, but of you dying and me running towards to revive you, and I was towards the right and you towards the left of this arena, and I ran and I sort of brought you back into the game, pegged off down the left, and you just tore down the right. As I turned around and looked, you just torn down the right, and I was like, "This is what makes it work."
Yeah.
It almost feels like I mean, we've mentioned westerns, but there's something quite cop show about that. With like, yeah, you take this side, I'll take this side, and
Back on your feet, partner.
yeah, it just makes me smile. And there's, I suppose, within these little co-op games as well, if we're boiling that down to the nucleus of a sense of awe, it almost feels like playing in the playground as kids and just running around and pretending. Except your vision's assaulted by all these aliens and ships coming in. Particularly in that mission that we were talking about there, when the big ship started to break through, the music was astonishing.
It swells up, doesn't it? You're like, ooh.
I mean, it's the Hollywood thing these days that I think that everybody knows the theme to Star Wars, everybody knows the theme to Superman,
Indiana Jones,
Yeah, the theme to the X-Men, the theme to the Fantastic Four. No, because Hollywood tends to kind of push these things underneath explosions and guns these days. Whereas if you get something that's iconic, that swells the soul, that just makes you go, "Oh my god," that you still know that you're firing guns. You still know that you can still see what's happening on screen. It just gives it this level of widescreen, of opera, of just huge. It just makes the moment more memorable, I'd say. And afterwards, we both went, "God, that music was amazing."
And sort of sat there quietly going, "Oh, that was really good."
Yeah, I mean, Martin McDonald's a big favourite of mine, and his soundtracks to Reach and ODST in particular are amongst my favourites ever. So it doesn't surprise me that he's ballparking this in the way that he is, and he's proper John Williams in this as well.
Yeah, totally.
I think. So after we'd done that, we then bounced into
straight onto the level 8, didn't we?
Yeah, well, the level 8 strike, if I'm thinking of the right one, is the Devil's Lair.
The Devil's Lair, yeah.
And we went through initially with a rando.
Rando, whose name was like Neo something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then
He was cool. He was all right. He was picking me up when I fell down.
Yeah, we went through sort of a decent run, but died and then dropped out, and then we were like, well.
You died at the second phase, I would call it, of that mission. There's the phase when you get in and defend the ghost who's deactivating the laser grid, and there's snipers turning up and there's wizards turning up, and you kind of sat in a fixed location You're back to the wall as they're all swarming in you. We got them through that bit, and then you come out on the first Devil Walker, which is the tank thing with the 6 legs that looks a bit like a spider. And he survived. We lasted 1 round on that, and the rando left us after not a very good run, if I must say. And we realised then there's only 2 of us now, and that thing's huge. I don't think we can do it with 2 of us.
Well, I said to you, is there anybody from our friends list that we can bring in?
So we hopped onto our cumulative rosters, and I located one of the Gavs from You Died.
Which Gav was it?
It was Gav Weir, I believe.
It was Gav Weir,
Gav Weir from You Died blog. You Died blog, if you don't listen to You Died blog... Sorry, listen?
Duh.
If you listen to your monitor, and you might hear it buzz. Reading You Die blog, it initially started life as a Dark Souls blog, and now they're talking about other games as well. Excellent written, they have exceptional taste, they always talk about things I like.
And Gav can sure hold a gun.
He can shoot a bullet.
And run around with the best of us.
He can pick me up when I fall on my ass, and then I immediately pick him up when he falls on his ass.
So yeah, we then brought Gav in, and what happened afterwards was epic and draining and brilliant and wow, and goddamn, I had the best night's sleep ever after that, because I think my body was like so yeah, we took on the kind of spidery tank creature that was towards the end, which had
tough
hella health.
I don't know if we'd missed something at the end, because I think its health bar had gone at the end. It's like, we must have killed it by now. Why is it still up?
Well, the way that we ended up doing it was you guys were more or less looking out for one another.
Sitting in the field and taking pot shots when we could.
Taking off a lot of the waves of enemies, and you were...
I believe in the MMO circuits, they are called ads.
Oh, okay.
Additionals.
You live and learn.
We took out the ad mobs.
So, and I was down the right-hand side, kind of
cheeky tunnel,
hiding in a tunnel, and occasionally sort of nipping out to throw a grenade or shoot a bit of the creature, and then when it turned the barrels towards me, going nope, 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 and sort of running like I was in a cartoon. It's
exactly the same way that I took on that in the alpha. I did the exact same thing. Hid in that tunnel, popped out when it was safe, and every now and again cocked it up and got blown up.
But we had the banter between us all was fantastic, and whilst there was I'd say a little bit of hangman humour to it, everybody was really lost in the moment, and
even though it took us like 6 tries, it was still a fun afternoon.
That didn't take us 6 tries to beat it.
It must have been a couple. I'm sure we did a full wipe at least twice.
I'd say we did it on the 2nd or 3rd time. It wasn't 6. It definitely.
Did we pick it on hard or normal?
Yeah, we took the whole mission on hard.
Oh, good. Okay, because I'm thinking that was really tough, and I'm wondering, am I bad at this game? I'm glad we took it on hard because.
Well, I think that's always a decent option in of itself, because you're making the game more of a challenge, whether you're doing it solo or multiplayer anyway. But the advantage of setting it to that means that you're coming away with more XP at the end.
Yeah, and I remember that mission being tough on the alpha on normal. Like, it was tough, and we had a team of level 8s taking that mission, and it was tough. But with it being ramped up to the hard mode, it was something else. Like, those captains, Jesus, they don't go down, do they?
8, and then you leveled to a 9 during that battle.
I dinged 9 during the fight, and had to kind of take a brief second to kind of level up in between. I managed it. I can't remember what it was I got. I think it was better double jumps or something insignificant like that at that point. But still managed to level up in the middle of the fight somehow. Christ knows how. But yeah, we finally decked that big walking tank bastard, which felt good. Felt really good to take him down, you know. And then it's almost immediately straight into Septic Prime, or that eye bastard, as we call it.
That was amazing. That was so good. That was, I wouldn't say that was as hard as the tank, but the playing field was fantastic. Yeah. It just felt everybody was, rather than the massive tank that was firing the huge salvos, it just felt like everything was distracting.
Yeah.
Septic Prime, and that meant that one of the other of us could nip in, and then you got the waves of the enemies. But it felt on that one, like we were always on the front foot.
Yeah, I very rarely found we were running away, going, "Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap!" Sorry, and let me paraphrase this properly. So I've just checked on Twitter. The big circle bastard, which is what a septic prime is, isn't he?
Well, I think that
It makes me think of a really gross Optimus Prime.
I think that after the battle with the tank, it felt almost as if Bungie were going, "You can do this one."
Mm.
That it wasn't anything. It wasn't sort of a lack of a challenge, but there was always this degree of, "Yeah, you can do this."
Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, I was always like, "You did that last one. That was awesome."
Yeah.
But between those two battles, was it about an hour and a half?
I looked at the stats at the very end. The very end of the thing, the entire map, the entire mission took us 1 hour and 34 minutes.
That's awesome.
For a single goddamn mission. That's brilliant.
I know some folks had wondered at first if they could sink that amount of time into a battle, that as to whether it would be, these things would just be bullet sponges and it wouldn't be enjoyable. But god damn, some of those missions that we did last night, both together,
weren't they?
Both together and with Gav, were some of my favourite gaming moments this year.
Definitely.
The level of camaraderie, joy and panic that were going through those missions in particular.
Yeah.
Just glorious, and it didn't feel like I was in my living room. It felt like I might as well have sellotaped my face to that screen, because
I was a fan of the occasional moments you'd hear one of us go, "Shit!
Don't die, CJ!"
Yeah, both of us have been taken out in the field by the big laser the tank does, and both of us down were like, "We've got 20-second timers. CJ, for the love of crap, don't die. Play it safe."
It was a really funny bit with Gav afterwards when we were all like, "Oh, that was really good," and Gav kind of was trying to find words after that and just went, "I'm gonna have to go, guys, because I've got a baby to sort." And it was this degree of kind of returning to the real world, but must find words after incredible experience. And I imagine sort of he'd be sort of rocking the baby to sleep, or just telling it a story. It'd be like, well, little Nicola, tonight, Patrick, CJ and I took on a big tank, and we ran round and around, just like telling this little story.
And then I fell down, my friend picked me up, and then when he fell down, I picked him up. It's a lovely message for kids. Yeah. And then we went to meet the big circle bastard.
Yeah, but you have to sort of change that with the fluffy circle of joy.
The perfect sky sphere.
Who we tickled with our tickling sticks until they went, "I'm tired."
And he went off home.
Yes, but that was just awesome last night. And so
worth noting as well the reward I got from that mission.
Okay.
Got a new speeder bike, and it's bright orange.
Oh yeah.
Could it be more perfect if it tried? Again, for those of you new to our show, I'm a ginger man. My character in Destiny is a robot that I've made orange. I'm going to be picking orange stuff when I can. It was really nice. It's like the game knew. It's like, yes.
Your good lady wife was taking the mick out of us because we were almost like, "Oh, I've got this new dress and it's really pretty. I like these gloves because they're red, and every time I change my gun barrel, I can see my lovely gloves." But
little bullets on my gloves, they look lovely. Oh, they do, Gladys.
Look at my lovely new yellow top.
I did get a new shirt, but it doesn't go with my sleeves, so
there was a lot of that. And,
so much of it.
My current stuff, whilst it is the most powerful stuff that I'm wearing, does kind of have a look of the Manchester City Kappa football kit from 1997 to 1999, which is my favourite football shirt ever.
Oh, that's a reference that I understand.
Yeah, so get in. I'll put a link to that, obviously, on the website, because everybody will be craving it.
To the Google machine.
Not to forget that before that, I think it was the first night that we played, we had an amazing game back at the tower called Stand Up, Sing Loud, Sit Down.
Yes.
The rules of a stand up, sing loud, sit down
Mm.
are that one person has to sit on the floor
Yep.
whilst the other stands up, dances, and sings a chorus of a popular song, then sits down, and then the other person stands up and dances and sings the popular chorus of another song, and then it was just
You see
going
how
back
far
and
you can
forth,
go
and we
until
were having a right laugh.
yeah, you see how far you can go until neither of you can sing anymore.
And then we had another thing. I think it was last night where we went out onto the prongs where the ships
Mm.
land, and we were dancing on the edges of
On
those.
the tips of danger and on the cusp of death.
It was good.
Yeah, because I kind of went and sat on mine. I was looking around, and you went, "Hey, look over!" And I turned around, and you were doing your dance on the side. And it looked astonishing.
So we got you mentioned this last night,
Mhm.
and I did it today. That on Reddit they've noted a load of codes that can be added to the Bungie website to give you extra symbols, shaders, and stuff.
Aye,
And
there's a
there's even
Google
a
script that
script
does it
there.
for you.
Yeah, there's even a script if you log onto your Bungie.net account and you go to the code section and then do Control Shift and V, paste the script that's on this Reddit piece, and we'll link it in the on the website.
Because it's very good.
Yeah, and then it just ticks off all of these. It's about 17 of them, 25.
25 now, yeah. It
25,
takes
yeah.
about 30 seconds to go through them all. It goes, oh, got a new one.
Now, I've
And then
not really
loading.
explored those yet because I only did it today, but you did it yesterday, didn't you?
I have. So that you get, there's three things. You get grimoire cards, which are the kind of in-game codex of all the kind of, the backstory stuff, which for some reason you can't read in the game. You can only read on the website or on the app, which I think is ridiculous, but what are you going to do?
It is a bit bizarre, but I will tip the hat to Justin Thompson, who's at dark_Londo on Twitter, who said that he'd been really enjoying that sort of stuff. So I started reading those today, but I've got a fair chunk still to go.
Plus, he's got a magnificent beard in his profile picture.
Yeah,
Isn't
thanks,
it?
Justin. You're
Cheers.
a good lad.
Much Londo. But yeah, no, I've not read the grimoire, but I've got the app load up on my phone, and I will be reading that soon. Worth pointing out as a slight aside here, the app for your phone's really good.
Yeah, I downloaded it onto my cheap Tesco tablet thing.
Yeah, you can load up a picture. You can load up a 3D model of your current dude. You can see what equipment you've got equipped. You can also have your bounties up, so you can be looking at what you're doing there. A whole bunch of little whibs and sobs. I think you can organise your clans and your groups and stuff as well. It's really good, but we're getting sidetracked. Yes, so you get some grimoire pages. There's also a bunch of armor shaders, which are what you use to make yourself, all colourful.
Do those kick in after level 20?
20 is when they kick in, which is a little bit annoying. I kind of want that now.
I get the feeling that there's a lot waiting for us after level 20, though. That seems to be it, because I thought that the hard limit for leveling up was level 20, but I'm sure somebody
I saw a level 26 the other day.
Yeah, somebody was saying that
I believe you
friends of
acquire
theirs
that.
were 23 and 26. So.
Through gear, I believe, is when that upgrades. I think that's how you do it. I think once you get to a certain point, then the Vanguard vendors and the Crucible vendors start selling you stuff, and then you can level up. You kind of level up without leveling up. You make yourself better with your gear, so you can get to 20 quickly, and then from then on it's gear. But yeah, you get the shaders, and they're cool and all, but I kind of want to be able to use them a bit earlier, because I need to be orange as soon as possible, and the hunter gear is all quite grey, greeny, and blue, and that's interesting and cool and stuff, and it fits with the character, but I need it orange. But that's soon, and you also unlock a whole bunch of emblems. Now, emblems are the thing you use to make your username come up different colours in like your party menus. So when you're partied up with someone and your ships are hovering around in orbit and you're sort of sitting there waiting to go, in the top right corner you have your list of who's in. And initially you start with the one that is your class. So I had a hunter one, you've got a warlock one. But these give you a bunch of free ones. You can go and buy them as well, but they're not cheap. They're like 500 glimmer each, which is not a small amount of money. And you can basically use those to customise your player card almost. So typically I picked an orange one. But they're really good. You'll find something interesting, and it's not even nothing that really matters, but it's nice to have something just to personalise it a little bit, just to put your own little personal stamp on it. Yeah, that's mine. I've got that. Kind of a bit disappointed to see that the drop ships you can buy, cost 3,000 glimmer.
Yeah, you were saving all of your glimmer up.
I am saving up my glimmer for one of those, and I know that it is just aesthetic, and it's akin to saving all your money up and then
Well,
just buying a fancy hat. And you
glimmer
could buy
still
a
sounds to
car.
me like a hairspray with glitter in it that you can safely put over your eyes and your face and your body as well, and just look like David Bowie.
It's like the sort of thing you get from an Avon lady.
Mm,
She come out, oh, now try this glimmer. And you, oh,
mm,
that's lovely, thanks. But yeah, they are a ridiculous amount of glimmer. I am saving all mine up. I'm at about 1,500. I've not been buying guns as much. I've not been buying the engrams. I really just want a different ship.
mm.
Just because when we are partied up and, you know, when you've got 3 or 4 ships flying around and you look at it and you're like, we've all got the blue and orange ship. I don't know which one's supposed to be me.
Hmm.
I want to know which one me is, and it's probably worth it to me to know that that's me.
Yeah, you're the one at the back.
I'm the one with. I'm going to be the one with the awesome bright red ship that's a little bit like the one from Cowboy Bebop. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, right.
Oh god, I need it. I need it, and I need to level up. I need to grind it out. I need to just grind out the money, but it's coming and soon.
So elsewhere across the net with reactions and stuff, the first one, which was an amazing piece, I loved it to pieces,
Rab.
was on Rab's Amusement Arcade, which is amusementarcade.org, and just a really brilliant and warm and vibrant piece on Destiny, and there's a true level of awe there, and I know from monitoring a few Twitter conversations that Rab was the hook was it plays like Halo, and Rab's a big fan of Halo seemingly. So he wrote this piece and it was great, and I know that a few folks felt that it was a little bit patronising, certainly in a place where it said. We're always so underwhelmed these days, aren't we? Let me step outside of the cynical here world and look at it with a child's eyes, where he kind of breaks it down into simple terms. And I know that recently Rab took his little girl to see Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
and he'd said that the way that they were talking together and the way that she was really enthused about it, but this was her Star Wars. That it made a similar impact on her as previous generations had with Star Wars. So I could see why that viewpoint would be
Worth
sort of
exploring.
clean in his mind and fresh and stuff. But I know that some folks found that sort of a little bit patronising and. So, but I really enjoyed the article. I'll link it again on the website. But it's a fantastic read. It's my favourite written piece on Destiny that I've seen. So Chet and John's Infinite Playlist is the best review site on the net. Full stop. They're the only people that I trust, and Chet Roivas did. The main part of the review on Destiny, and was the great thing about Chet and John is that even if I don't agree with them at times, or if it might be something that where I'm like I don't know, but they're always really eloquent and really passionate about the things that they that
You
they
can always see where they're coming from, can't you?
they can break things down, and sometimes you can look and go, well, I felt differently to that, but there's never this degree of I know more about games than you. It's just a real kind of I can't wait to tell you about this, and because they're friends and they're talking to one another, there's always this voyeuristic quality that you just tap hanging on to other people's conversations. But Chet came in with a number of criticisms with regards to the design that he felt, but prefaced that with by saying that he loved the game, then went on to enthuse about it. And John had only played a little bit of it at this point because he'd just come back from holiday.
Yeah.
But he was saying that he's not a particular fan of Star Wars, but he knows why people like it. And for him, the Halo games are his Star Wars. That whilst he's not sold on the story or that sort of stuff. He just finds the world really immersive and really, really beautiful to be in. It's a place that he enjoys to explore and play, and it's a really cool experience for him. And he said that you felt that about Destiny, that it just, and I think sort of following on from that personally, I think Bungie makes shooters better than anybody else.
Ooh.
I mean, I know you've always.
I mean,
been
I'm not really a shooter man. I mean, I don't really play him. Like, it takes a lot for me to get into a shooter. I mean, like everyone, we've all got our blind spots of genres we don't get on with. Some people don't play puzzle games. Some people don't play RPGs. I generally don't play shooters. I don't get on with them. For a shooting game to grab me like this, something pretty special. Because they just don't. I don't think I can remember. The last shooting game that got me like this was probably BioShock.
Okay.
And that wasn't. I wouldn't even call that a standard shooting game, really.
But
and
I'd say
some cool wrinkles, didn't it?
If we're making parallels, though, Rapture was a huge character in that game, and I feel that the world that I'm invested in here is a huge character in the game. I felt that about Crisis 2 as well. That it felt like I was standing somewhere that was solid, that was real earth beneath my feet and stuff. A place that I wanted to explore, that seemed like a curiosity and enigma to me.
Do you know what I honestly got that with as well? Might get some flack for this. Mirror's Edge.
Okay.
Loved Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
Loved it, and I loved the world. I wanted to run around in it more. And the fact, obviously, you're restricted, to your obstacle course you've got to get through to beat the level. But I just loved the idea of it. Like, just everything looked so cool. It's a vision of the near future that I really, really dig, because it was, all quaint and stark lines and cool stuff. And I sat there, I've played that game a dozen times. Love it to pieces. Mirror's Edge 2 had better be incredible. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, for a game's world to be the character, to be the thing, I think Destiny's managing that so far. Yeah, we've only really been to the Earth and the Tower so far, haven't we? But
yeah, we've got the moon to do after this, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, boy.
The Video Gamer podcast they did a Destiny special, and they were rather damning of it. They slammed the story, the game design. But said it was still easy to lose a good few hours into it without noticing. But they just weren't. I don't know. It's almost like the polar opposite to the way that I feel and that you feel about it. And it's interesting to look at the other side of it and see those criticisms. And I know Timur Hussein was saying that there are design decisions that are in World of Warcraft that Destiny could have noted from and made it a better game. And I've not spoken to him about it, and it'd be cool to get him on the show and sort of find out.
Expand
on that a little bit. But I know that Timur hadn't been particularly sold on the game, and he and I did a little bit of co-op one afternoon on stream, and he really enjoyed it. So yeah, I think it's polar opposites for him at the moment. He's enjoying the co-op and not so much the solo stuff.
Yeah.
But it's interesting on the video gamer side of things that they were saying that they preferred Borderlands to Destiny, and I didn't particularly click with. I played Borderlands 1 solo and got sort of quite way into it. Borderlands 2, enjoyed the humour, but didn't enjoy the world.
I beat Borderlands 1 and I enjoyed it. It was all right, but I wouldn't put it on the pedestal. And Borderlands 2, I own the Steam version. I've got the goddamn PS3 version they gave out for free on Plus, and I've barely touched either. Because I will be playing it solo, and it's like I don't see the point.
Well, I didn't really kind of care for the world particularly. It was, you've got icy places and kind of desert.
Desert, and then over here we've got a bit more desert, and there's another desert over here.
Now I'm in a big building with robots, but even more than that, I just found that I'd make headway and I'd go 3 steps forward and then have to run 10 steps back to deal with what ran at me. And I found that personally quite repetitious, although allegedly the sweet spot for Borderlands 2 is co-oping with 4 people.
Yeah.
So perhaps I'm misjudging that a little bit because I've not really bollocked through it in that kind of way. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think Destiny probably to take that point and move on from it. I think Destiny does benefit from having a 2 or a 3 rolling around together. Just having that extra buddy in, to watch your back while you're kind of making a move from one side to the other.
What you mean when it kind of summons in some sort of random people into the world?
Random people, or if you've got your fire team as well, it works really well. I mean, you can watch each other's back, help each other out. I had a moment where I was playing with a good pal of mine, James, that popped on, and I was about level 5 at this point. He was only level 2, and I was, we were helping each other through a bit because we were kind of touched a little bit out of our depth as far as the area goes, like sort of level 6 enemies. I was a 5, he was a 2, so he was having a hard time of it, but I was trying to watch his back and help him out. We kind of strolled into an area that was way too hard. We're talking like enemies with level 9s and 10s written next to their names. We turned our tails and we ran, but it was a wonderful moment when we both realised we're out of our depth here.
There's those moments where we've kind of ran into caves and we started shooting things. It's like immune, resist. We're like nope.
My bullets aren't doing much. I'm firing more, but they're not doing much either. Should we leave? Let's leave. Ah!
I changed guns and the second gun didn't do anything either. So
rocket? Ooh, no, we're still done. Right, let's leave.
So yeah, Twitter's been a mixture of folks finding the big epic moments that leave them aghast, and like Sean and Andy from Midnight Resistance podcast, which again is amazing if you've not listened to it. And the reason that we started podcasting was Midnight Resistance. They did the moon mission, and I know kind of Andy wasn't really that keen on Destiny when he was going into it, and I think Sean was sort of on the fence a little bit.
Yeah.
And both of them were like, "Fucking Destiny!" Like after this moon mission, and other folks like Joshua Garrity from Kane Rince has said that he's kind of got the feeling that it's not for him. We had an email from Mike Westerfall. And,
I know who that is.
Yeah, and he said, I've just started Destiny and I'm working my way back through the missions that were available during the beta. I figure I'll just go over my thoughts in relation to the stuff that's present in that portion since it's early in the game and I've yet to get past it. Thankfully, the thing that I've connected with so strongly is perfectly exemplified in these early portions, that being the silent narrative of the level design. I absolutely love how everywhere you look, there's some kind of story to be found, whether that's abandoned warehouses, small encampments of enemies in caves, or the field of crash-landed airplanes. You can pull some kind of story from it, and that keeps me thirsty to continue exploring. I love those planes. The game design is fine. I'm like Paddy and not much of a shooter guy, so I don't necessarily connect with that aspect of the game. I do enjoy the RPG element, so that helps drive my retention to the game as well. But most of all, it's the exploration and the reward for finding new areas. Really, the game plays more like an action-adventure game than a straight-up shooter or MMO, and it works so beautifully. There's plenty more to say, but I really want to get back to playing. Now get this episode up for listening ASAP, so I can have something to take my mind off work while I sit around waiting to go home and play Destiny.
I will do that.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers, Mike. Really, really good email.
Yeah, we had a piece on the Twin Humanities Twitter as well, from David Stuccio, I think it is, Stuccio? I think it's Stuccio. And he said he just finished listening to our podcast, and he can't wait to see what we thought of the main game. So thank you for a little bit of feedback as well, because it's kind of cool to know that folks are listening to this. And Justin Thompson again has been dropped as a line to say that they've been listening. And I know Laura Rich, bless her Welsh heart, has had a listen and she really enjoyed it, even though she told me that it was rubbish. Oh. She didn't really.
Have you seen her recent tweet?
I know she's playing now because her internet went down when she got Destiny, and it's taken her a few. I think a router broke.
That's a shitty Destiny.
So I know she's now playing it. She tweeted.
She has tweeted about it. She said that she danced with strangers, and I was like, 10 out of 10, game of the year. And then she said, there is a ball.
Well,
apparently there is a football that turns up sometimes in the tower.
I've heard that there's an area later, a town, where loads of footballs and balloons turn up and everybody just goes bonkers.
Oh my God, oh my God. Why are we recording? Why aren't we going to do that?
Honestly, if you could wear arseless chaps in that area, I don't think you'd ever leave.
I wouldn't. It's basically like Paddy Town.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and that's what we'll call it when we find it. So yeah, after this, we're going to go and do the moon mission, which has been given an extra spice and flavour from what Andy and Sean have said.
Yeah, I think we'll probably do our next show once we've cleared the moon.
Yeah, we'll have a good natter from there and see. Oh, we've also got a little bit of news as well that came in, that Bungie have said that they've got up and coming events that are happening. September 12th to September 14th, Salvage.
That's today.
Which is a Crucible weekend playlist. Then September the 16th opens the Vault of Glass, a level 26 raid. It says no one knows what lies within the Vault of Glass, only that beyond its gates you will face your greatest challenge yet. Gather your light, stand together, become legend. Rewards raid set gear and ascendant materials. There's a combined arms event, which looks like Crucible again. September, the Queen's Wrath. Accept her orders, settle old scores. And in October, there's a Crucible Iron Banner event. So it looks like they're ready to kick quite a few of these in and give out some cool stuff. And they've said on Bungie.net, these are only some of the surprises we have planned for you. Very soon, strange characters will arrive in the tower with special offerings in hand.
I know about that.
Public events will erupt from the skies over your favourite destinations with greater frequency. And Bungie will enter the fray with some bounties of our own for you to claim. That's cool!
Look at all that. By the way, I know about the new vendor.
Okay.
He only shows up at the weekend. Oh, Jesus, I think there's a spider nearby. This is actual real-life drama. I think it touched my leg. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I think it's gone. Yes, the vendor that only turns up at the weekend and only trades in, I believe they're called strange coins.
Okay.
For one piece of armor for each class and a weapon and some other assorted stuff. But he only turns up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday ever.
All right.
And he only trades in weird stuff. So yeah, he seems cool. I haven't got any of that stuff yet because I think you only get the strange coins from doing certain Crucible missions, I think. But all the same, new vendor, and he's kind of shady looking as well. He's got a weird kind of smoky face. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. If I am now slightly terrified that there is a massive spider around.
Okay, right. Well, we're going to break. I'm going to get a drink. You're going to get a drink. Potentially hit a spider, and then we're going to hit the moon.
Yeah, boy. Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sure if you liked it, make sure that you write a letter to your local paper about us.
If you can't do that, drop us an email at twinhumanitiespodcast at gmail.com. Send us something at Twin Humanities on Twitter. You can reach me at Coffee Jesus, which is with a Z instead of an S in the middle of the Jesus bit.
Yep.
Or at Paddy Stardust if you want to message Paddy. But really, message the Twin Humanities one because we'll probably get to it quicker. But we will read them out on the show as we proved on this one. So, and...
see you on the moon, baby.
Goodbye.
Bye.